So I decided to start a new project, and that's 40k and 15mm using the first edition Warhammer Road Trader 40k rules as the system to play with. Now, 40k, commonly known as Warhammer 40k, has captured the imaginations of tabletop gamers for decades with its grimdark universe, its intricate lore, and intense battles. While traditionally it's played in the standard 28mm scale, the game has seen adaptations and variations by various people, especially with the fascinating realm of 15mm. And in this video, I'm going to delve into that realm of using 15mm for 40k and look at its unique appeal, as well as look at some of the miniatures I'm going to be using. In the world of tabletop wargaming, scale term does matter. Warhammer 40k was created by Games Workshop and utilises the 28mm heroic scale miniatures, which allows for great detail and visually striking battles. However, I'm looking for an alternative scale to explore the universe of 40k with. And I don't want to go down to 6 or 8mm. So for me, 15mm was sort of that in between that sat nicely between the two scales. It offers a fresh perspective on the game where the miniatures are roughly half the size of their traditional counterparts. The scale shift opens up new possibilities for larger scale battles, intricate terrain, and unique tactical challenges for me. Now, some of the benefits around 15mm for playing Warhammer 40k in is that one of the most significant advantages of that scale is the ability to recreate bigger battles on a grander scale. Now, they're not as grand as going down to 6mm, but they're bigger battles. With smaller miniatures, players can field larger armies without sacrificing table space or breaking the bank. 15mm are generally a lot more affordable compared to their 28mm counterparts. And this affordability should allow me to play a larger army and explore more than one faction without breaking my wallet, basically. Working in a small scale will also offer me some flexibility in terrain design. I can create more expansive battlefields with more intricate terrain features, buildings and landscapes, and enhancing the immersion and tactical depth of each game. Warhammer 40k can be more accessible to newcomers or players of limited space in smaller scales, which is why Legion Imperial Artists is quite popular. Smaller miniatures and reduced terrain footprint make it easy to set up and store as well, making it quite an attractive option for those that are limited with space at home. Now, whilst 15mm scale 40k offers quite a few advantages, it does present some unique challenges and considerations for players. One of those is you ain't going to get miniatures from Games Workshop. You're going to have to source those from elsewhere. Another one is you're painting a smaller scale, and that's going to require steadier hands and more attention to detail. However, some players will enjoy this opportunity to focus on broader colour schemes and army themes that are rather than intricate details. You're not painting intricate. You can get away with a lot more at a small scale. Now, adapting the rule set for 40k to accommodate 15mm will require some adjustments. A lot of that is going to be in measurements and stuff like that. So I'm going to have to tweak things like movement distances, line of sight rules, and a few other mechanics to make it work for 15mm. I'm not expecting to change much, but I'm probably going to have to. Now, there is a growing community within 15mm in general. And 15mm sci-fi. So there are quite a few miniatures out there available. Most of these are third-party manufacturers, and you're going to have to sort of proxy a lot. And I'm going to talk about that with some of the miniatures we're going to look at in a bit, which I've already started picking at. Now, The diverse landscape of 40k wargaming and exploring it in 15mm will offer I'm hoping to offer a refreshing and unique experience. Being able to play bigger battles with more flexible terrain, and it should. I'm hoping it will open up new avenues for creativity and strategic gameplay for me. While it may require adjustments and adaptation, the allure of commanding bigger armies on a smaller scale does sound pretty cool. And whether you're a seasoned veteran like myself, or you're looking for a new challenge, or you're a newcomer looking for a more accessible entry point into the grimdark universe, 15mm might work for you. And 40k does offer you the ability to embark on quite an epic journey of warfare and conquest. So let's take a look at some of the miniatures I've got. I've basically, at the moment, I've got infantry figures from Vanguard Miniatures, which we'll take a look at, and I've got some vehicles from Brigade Models from their sci-fi 15mm sci-fi range for Hammer Slammers and various other games. So let's take a look at those, and then we'll come back. So I have a number of infantry miniatures from Vanguard Miniatures and Brigade. So we'll take a look at the Brigade miniatures first, because I've only got a couple bits of those. And these guys are, bring that up to there. The plan is to use these as Cadian Guard, and I think they'll work quite well as Cadian Guard, Cadians, Imperial Guard, and I got those as plain infantry, and I do have some sort of heavy weapons like missile launchers. I need to get a few more of these guys. More selection of the these from Brigade, because obviously I'll need more than just 2 squads. I'll just put those to one side. Now, Vanguard, I got quite a few from Vanguard. Now, the main pack I got were these, and these will also can be used as Cadians. They're a lot slimmer than the ones from Brigade. They're roughly about the same height, but they're just, I would say Brigade are more of a sort of heroic 15, whereas Vanguard are a bit true scale. And so in this pack, you get enough. You get 5 sprues of infantry carrying las guns, and then you get a missile launcher, flamethrower, 2 missile launchers, 2 flamethrowers, 2 missile launchers. You then get 2 squad leaders, which are these guys here, carrying chainswords and las pistols. So that's those guys. They are quite nice. They're quite nicely sculpted, a lot of detail on them, and they work quite well. I then got these guys, which are the Terran PPF suppressors, which will work well as Adeptus Astartes. Now they do 2 packs of these, They do these armed with shields and riot shields and truncheons, and then there's another that's armed which is called what looks more like a grenade launcher, and I didn't pick a pack of those up. But again, they're nicely sculpted. There are some mould lines and some bits of flash on these miniatures, but nothing you don't expect on a metal miniature. Then I got 2 packs of these guys. They're the Terran Hollister Honor Guard, but as you will see, they look a lot like Mordians. And there's just 2 packs of those, so there's basically 10 of those I've got so far. They're quite nicely done. I got these are the Terran Hollister Honor Guard, or First Sons. They're basically officers, but they look and will work great as commissars. There's a few bits of flash on them in a couple of places, but otherwise really nice looking models and perfect as commissars. Then I got 2 squads of these guys. Which are the Krasnov Honor Guard from Vanguard, and they'll work quite nicely as well. So there's 2 lots of these, so there's 10 of those. I need to order some more because obviously I don't have a lot of many of each of them. I think I've got enough of these guys here. But I'm thinking I need to buy 2 more packs of these, and then 2 more packs of these guys, and that should do me for my guard army at 15mm. So that's all of the infantry I've got so far. I need to buy a few bits and pieces more, but at the moment I'm just going to get these. The priority is to get these painted first before I buy any more infantry figures. Next is going to look at some of the vehicles I got from Brigade Models. I got these so far, and these are all from Brigade Models. They're 15mm sci-fi range. Now one of them, the battle tank, I've painted up already using speed paints. The good thing about first edition is particular stats for vehicles. There's not like a Lehman Russ stat. It's just track vehicles, hover vehicles, wheeled vehicles, and you kind of stack them up yourself. So you can get away with a lot more in first edition than you can in later editions. So I've got a tracked vehicle, small light tank, and because of this I can pretty much use any vehicles. I can stack them up. I'm thinking of doing using these as sort of hover versions of Lehman Russ, not Lehman Russ, Rhino, sorry. And because I quite like this vehicle, And then I've got some bits and pieces here which are more civilian. This is like these are like 3-wheel vans from Brigade, and they're thinking of using this as an Adeptus Astartes sort of police style vehicle for some scenarios where the Astartes are going up against rioting civilians and things like just those sort of scenarios, because I think you can get away with that playing those types of games more in first edition than you can in later editions. It's a bit more narrative play because their rules aren't as confined or restricted or streamlined like they were for later editions. There's a bit more giving them for a bit more narrative roleplay and stuff. So again, that will be used. This one here will be probably be used as, I'm not sure, an ambulance or taxi type civilian. They're going to be used as civilian type vehicles for using either just as scenery bits and pieces for in city fighting, or just within scenarios where they're required use. So Brigade do a huge amount of 15mm sci-fi, and there's everything from sort of Jeep sort of type vehicles right up to sort of main battle tank stuff. And I've got some more stuff on order. There's a couple of more of these guys coming, and then I've got some stuff that more tracked vehicles, and the aim is to get another one of these. And basically this will be a Baneblade equivalent, but it's a hover tank. And there was, in an old white dwarf of that period, someone had made a grav or hover tank using an old not roll-on deodorant, but it was just like a square deodorant ones that you push up, and turned that into a sort of grav tank. So I can get away with these types of vehicles in that first edition 40k. So I'm not looking to get vehicles that are exact copy of ones that exist in later editions. I can play about with what vehicles I choose, because there's no, in the vehicle section it doesn't say Lehman Russ, so on the stats for it, blah 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 blah. It's track vehicle, and then it gives you information about track vehicles and stuff like that, and then it goes wheeled vehicles. There's a few vehicles in there that are mentioned, but on the whole it doesn't mention any particular vehicles, singling them out. They just call them a category of vehicle. So I can get away with putting down on the tabletop this odd sort of sci-fi stuff that's not generic looking 40k. I've also got some stuff from Laserburn range from Alternative Armies, but I'll look at those at a later date, because that's more, a lot of that is they're more like civilian type vehicles. Then they just basically bulk up as scatter terrain when I'm doing a city scenario, which is one of the great things about this scale, is there's a lot more vehicles like this that you can get and put down on the table just to sort of use as scatter terrain within a city fight, and they become obstacles and stuff like that, and or objectives. Whereas in 28mm those sort of vehicles aren't produced by GW or anyone else. Well, I say anyone else, but they're not produced for 40k. So city tables tend to look a bit bare beyond just the main buildings. So anyway, that's what I've got so far. I'm going to say, I've got one painted up, and the aim is to expand this. Let's get some more of these guys, another one of these, some more of these ones, and then so I've got some other vehicles coming that are a mixture of civilian and military based. So that's the miniatures I've got so far for this project. Now, the vehicles from Brigade are quite reasonably priced. For instance, the tanks, these guys here, they'll range from between about £7 to £9 per vehicle, depending on which vehicle it is and the size of it. The smaller things, so anything from sort of this size to that size, will be in the range of about £4 to about £7, depending on which vehicle it is. So they're quite reasonable and quite nicely priced. Vanguard miniatures do 3 different armies in that scale that are suitable for 40k. They do the Nova, which is the humans, and they have infantry packs that are compatible for being sort of in Imperial Guard, Cadians and stuff like that. And then they do some others that are compatible and look kind of like Space Marines. So if you wanted to build a Space Marine force, you could with Vanguard. Now the other ones army they do is Skinners, and Skinners look like orcs. They are basically orcs, they just call them Skinners, and they do a range of different infantry packs and some vehicles for that particular range. They then do another army called, I think it's called Endomorphs, and they look like Tyranids. So if on Vanguard you've got you could have a field Imperial, Space Marine or Guard, Orcs and Tyranids. Now Brigade, their infantry packs are predominantly human. So you've got stuff in there that could be fielded as Catachans if you wanted to go down the Catachan route. You've got some stuff in there that could be fielded as things like I think they've got stuff that could be fielded as Talon in there as well. So you know you've got quite a few options, and they're not the only ones that produce 15mm sci-fi. There are other manufacturers out there. It's just a case of doing a bit of research and looking around. I just picked Brigade models and Vanguard so far, and I've got some stuff from Alternative Armies, which is from the Laserburn range, which I haven't shown yet. And they do some in Alternative Armies do not a massive range of 15mm sci-fi, but they do a good comprehensive range. And in there they do produce stuff by Bradley Miniatures. And if you're looking for tracked tanks that look like a lot closer to like Lehman Russ, Baneblade and stuff like that, they do in the Bradley Miniatures section, they do a range of tanks that not exactly like it, but they are pretty close to what a 28mm counterpart looks like. And they do some other bits and pieces as well in the sci-fi range that will probably worth looking at. Anyway, that's what I've got planned for this project, and I'll do some updates and I'll look at some more. I will tend to look at the rules in more detail in future videos. But that's all for this one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I shall see you next time.